Hey everybody, welcome to Hey We're Talking. Man, that is a catchy tune, isn't it? I love it.
I know. It's always stuck in my head too.
It is. That's why I say we actually talked about, I'm just going to jump in this for a second. We actually talked about changing the music a little bit. And I feel like it's like kind of a mainstay. I don't want to get rid of it now. The silence is golden. All right. Wow.
Well, I didn't want to talk over Derek, so I just waited a second because he looked like he was ready to say something, and I'm like, I don't want to cut him off. But maybe we should do like some hip hop behind the theme and make it like a mix track or something.
Listen, if people are not watching the video, just for the faces that Derek makes alone, it's well worth it. It's well worth it to tune into YouTube and watch the show just to see what he does, because he says a lot with his facial expressions. It actually, if I watch them, I don't always watch our show after we do it, but if I watch them, sometimes I'm like, I don't even think Derek wants to be here. Just the faces he makes sometimes. But anyway, all right. Welcome to Hey We're Talking. It's me, Scotty D, and we got Bob Peel. He's got a fly in the room today.
There is a fly.
He keeps coming around.
In this show.
You're going to kill it during the show?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, speaking of, by the way, let me
find out.
Let me just say this before I jump into that story. Our other co-host is Derek Tant. Derek Tant, how you doing, buddy?
Hi. 90% of communication is nonverbal, but go ahead and Karate Kid that fly, Bob.
Wouldn't it be awesome if I did it live? It'd probably be right off the edge of the screen, right where it cuts off, though, so
right.
That would suck.
That is one of the things that kind of bothers me about that scene is Mr. Miyagi's been trying to do that for so long, and Daniel San does it.
You beginner luck.
Yeah, no kidding. And he just walks out.
But he got it. He got it at the beginning of the second film.
Yes.
And he released the fly. How zen is that?
That's super zen. So, speaking of that, I happen to, this is not technically political, so don't get mad at me.
So now you guys can stare at my face when Scott starts.
Derek just takes the headphones off. Okay, listen. It's not technically political. Just listen to this. I saw this video today. It's in Florida. I think it's in the Tampa Bay area. And these guys are at a park, and they're fishing off of this kind of pier bridge type thing. Caught a fish. He's got it. He must have just caught the fish because he's got it sitting on the pavement next to him, and every once in a while it goes flecka, 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 flips around a little bit.
Flecka, flecka, like fish do.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking every time I catch a fish.
It's the noise, that noise. So anyway, he's approached by this guy who's filming this with his phone. He sends this child over to, I'll link to this so people can see this. Did you get it?
No.
Oh, flies are fast, man. Okay,
yeah.
So he sends this kid over to these people, and he's filming this on his phone, and he goes, did you know that fish have feelings and love, and they hurt, and they feel pain? When you hook them in the mouth, they scream in pain. And the guys are just kind of like, okay, to the kid. And then this guy, and then they're surrounded by these people, and they're like, that fish are like children. Would you hook a child in the face? And all this stuff. And they just descend upon these two guys and berate them for fishing. Eventually, what ends up happening is this lady's there with a kid. She gets into it with these people. And the guy, they go for the guy's fish that's still on the ground during this whole argument. And this lady stands around it to try and block these people from picking the fish up. And this guy just like grabs it away from her and throws it back in the water. And he goes, I just saved that fish's life.
As it floats to the top of the water.
I know. Because it's been laying on hot cement for who knows how long in Tampa Bay, Florida. Dude, our country is out of control, man.
Well, I only have one thing to say to that, Scott.
What?
Flecka, 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 flecka.
What?
I was listening to that video and Cheryl was like, I can't handle this, and just walked out of the room. Because, you know, when people start doing that thing, like on these videos that you see on YouTube, when they just walk up to people and they have no business bothering these people who are just living normal life. Apparently, this group of people also went into a Chick-fil-A in Florida and stood in the lot. Chick-fil-A's are always piled full of people. And just stood there and they were like, chicken is murder, and screamed to the top of their lungs. It's just like, what are you doing?
People have different causes, I guess you could say.
Are you really going to side with these weirdos?
Siding with the weirdo. I'm just saying people have different causes, man. The people are unique.
While I may not agree with what you say, I will defend to the death your right to say it.
There you go. Yes.
The popular saying, which is, I'm sure, been bastardized and changed and
yes,
whatever.
It has. But I also have the right to call these people morons. Don't I?
Yeah, technically.
Right now. For now, anyway.
Speech, yeah.
Eventually, I might go to prison for it. But let's talk about prison.
Segue.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow! I nailed it.
See, but the thing is, segues, you're not supposed to, like, announce them. You're supposed to let them just happen, and never mind.
I'm celebrating it.
Or maybe let other people compliment you. Maybe not compliment yourself on a smooth segue.
Dude,
that was a smooth segue I just did. Whoa.
Dude, that was a good segue, though. Let's talk about prison, right?
It would have been a lot better if you didn't, announce that it was a good segue.
I liked it. It felt good. It felt right.
More on Hey We're Talking, we're going to talk about segues. See, there was another one. We segued out, and now we're back. All right, let's go.
We're going to segue into segues. Do people still ride them? You'll find out today on Hey We're Talking. Sometimes police officers drive segways, and they take people to prison.
All right, stop saying segue. It's weird now.
Okay. So today we are going to talk about prison. So my first question is this. I don't want to out anybody, but I'm just going to be honest. I've never been to prison. I've never been arrested.
Well, there's a difference between prison and being arrested. Prison means you're there for a long stay. Being arrested means you could go home the next day if you post bail.
Okay. I didn't know that. See, because I've never been arrested. I wouldn't know all that extra
I've
stuff.
been arrested.
Derek has arrested people, I bet.
Kinda, I guess.
You put him in military jail, didn't you?
Yeah, but I've never been arrested, but I have been to prison.
Wow.
As a spectator or a prisoner?
Yeah, like a spectator, like nursing school. Like, this is where you could work, because we have like 5 prisons locally. Pretty much our local economy is dependent on our prison population. Yeah, it was a big deal. We got the privately owned corporate prisons around here. Yeah, they were trying to take that away last year.
And you guys were like, hello, there goes our economy, jerks.
Yeah, it was going to be a big thing just because of the plight of for-profit prisons, and all that stuff. But anyway,
we do incarcerate a lot of people in this country.
Well, we do, and I was looking, saw a video this past week about the Netherlands. The Netherlands actually have to close prisons because they're not putting people in jail. So their prison population is very minute. So now they're opening up the prisons for like IT people to come in and have a quiet place to work. Exactly. And they have sometimes where they do like
oh my gosh.
They have like how you have, what's that, Clue, like the game,
the
like
escape. Yeah, the escapes that they do for businesses. Yeah.
Yeah, so what they do is they lock people in and try to get people to escape from this prison as well, and it's a big competition. You have X amount of time to try to escape and all this stuff, and that's what they're doing with their prisons because their prison population is so low, which I thought was it's cool and crazy at the time.
Those freaky deaky Dutch.
Here's the thing, though. Here I go. I'm going to go there. You know that there's all sorts of horrible things happening over in those countries, like rape and stuff is like on the rise.
I don't know,
crazy.
Like I don't know what, free weed and health care for everybody and things like that.
Right.
All these horrible things that are going on.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands.
Yeah.
IKEA factories and.
That's in Sweden.
Whatever.
And Sweden's even worse. Norway actually is the one that I think they. I don't know if they don't have prisons, but what they do is a bunch of these prisoners live on this island, and it's next to this town, and they just live in houses and stuff like that. And during the day, they come across this bridge, and they work. Now, they're part of the society. They don't. It's not like they're like, oh, he's unclean. It's like murderers and stuff. They'll just come across and they do their job, and then at night they go home to their home that's on this little island, but they're with other people that have committed crimes. I think it's Norway.
Scott, I think you need to open your mind to maybe we should look at our friends, different nations, see what kind of successes they are having in different areas of like government administration, and maybe we should take a lesson and try to do things maybe a little bit different.
Yeah, I think
a huge part of our population is in prison, so that's bad.
Maybe we should send prisoners to war, and if they come back, their slate is clean.
Wow, that's devious, dude. What if you're just like some guy who stole like candy or something?
Well, I mean, it'd be for people with long sentences. Hey, you go fight for us, and if you survive.
Scott, how many people have you heard of being sentenced to long prison terms for stealing candy?
I don't know. It depends. Depends what kind of lawyer they got, too, man. I mean, that's part. You want to get into all the details of this? I mean, let's be real.
Nobody's in prison.
People
for
get long
candy.
prison sentences for stupid stuff. There's tons of people. Do you want to go ahead and say what you're going to say? Because I don't want to talk over you.
The guy stole the whole truckload of candy.
Yeah.
Stole the, grand theft. And,
like in Goodfellas or something. They knock out the guy who's got the truck. Okay, listen. But here's the thing. There's people in prison for like not that major of drug offenses that are in jail for like, because they had like remember when they did the minimum sentencing stuff? I mean, they put people in jail for weed for like 10 years mandatory sometimes. This is crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Yeah. So maybe we should think about our laws and what we're putting people in prison for and for how long. Yes, you hear stories of, so-and-so was sentenced to 15 years in prison because of selling or distributing marijuana, and then such and such person kills a guy, first degree manslaughter.
and they get like 5 years.
8 years or something.
Yeah, they do that with pedophiles too.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the pedophiles will get like 6-7 years, and then the drug dealer will get 20 years. It's like, wait, huh? How does that make sense?
But I will say that doesn't. What we were talking about with the other countries and stuff like that, I'm okay listening to, if we're talking about like what we put people in prison for and stuff like that. That's a different story. But overall, if you look at Europe right now, are you kidding me? I don't want to do anything that they're doing. That place is on fire. I mean, it's falling apart. It's crazy. And I'm not trying to be political. Europe is under siege, man. Have you watched the news?
No.
Not really.
My gosh. See, this is what I deal with, people. These guys, they get mad at me for talking about politics. They don't even know what the heck is going on in the world. It's falling apart, dude.
I have less gray hair than you.
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than you.
I'm a lot tanner than you, and that's all because I don't watch the news.
Listen, I can't help that I'm slightly educated. It's not a bad thing. I love that you keep tracking that fly.
It's going to come over here at some point to kill it.
It's been going on top of your head. Anyway, so prison is different than jail is the one thing that Bob was trying to say. Agreed. And I do think, Derek, I actually do care a lot about the fact that we put too many people in prison. I think it's crazy for the stuff that people get put in jail for. Especially if it was that minimum sentencing that they did back, I don't know when they started doing that. I believe it was during the Clinton administration. they made it that you had to do, it was either 10 or 20 years, depending on if you got 2 strikes, you'd get 20 years for drugs, for selling marijuana and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people who were non-violent offenders who are in prison for 20 years because they sold weed. And that's kind of sad to me. I think, yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Well, I think a lot of that may change with the fact that legalization of marijuana is happening all over the place. They may wind up going back and commuting some of these sentences and getting a lot of people out of jail. That's one move that you see, that somebody who is in prison for marijuana, hey, it's now legal, try to get my sentence reduced. And they've done that on a couple cases, but as this continues, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot bigger deal. They're talking about doing that in Illinois, making marijuana legal because we're in such a financial mess, and they don't know what else to do to get out of this mess.
Yeah, I'm sure the cost of maintaining and housing these prisoners for something as trifle as marijuana is mind-numbingly expensive. Yes, Scott, I know you may not like to hear the man's name, but President Obama, he pardoned a lot of people, and at the end of the presidency, that's what presidents do, right? They issue a bunch of pardons before they go. I think a lot of his pardons were people in prison for marijuana, selling marijuana, people with these super long prison terms because they were in prison for marijuana. I
can't imagine who Trump's going to pardon when he leaves office.
Who knows?
Oh my gosh!
But I do know that.
I like how you just said that whole thing about Obama, like he's some saint. By the way, that wasn't the only type of people he pardoned. I don't want to go into it, but that's not.
I'm just.
And then as soon as
fact out there,
Bob goes, I can't imagine who Trump gonna do. I don't like that.
The point is, children, is that we're seeing decriminalization of marijuana around the country. Even in the great city of Houston, Texas, I believe the new district attorney or whoever, attorney general in that area is saying that they're going to stop issuing fines or arresting people for having marijuana.
I mean, when you think about it, though, even though they may go back and help some of these people, dude, talk about messed up, though. I mean, what if you've been in there for 7 years and they're like, well, you got 20, we're going to let you out. That's 7 years of your life, dude, just stuck in prison with people that probably tried to rape you
or did rape you.
Yeah.
Maybe give them 7 years worth of free weed while they're out.
They would be so happy. No, that would not cover it. But anyway, yeah, I think that it's going to continue to. It's going to be interesting to see. Of all the places, though, I always thought to myself, even though Texas is considered probably to be a little bit more on the conservative side in some ways, I always thought a place like Texas would just be like, hey, if people want to smoke weed, we're all about being free here in Texas, and they should. I'm surprised that they haven't done that. I understand why they haven't, but the problem that you have is the moment that you say, let's decriminalize weed, then you got somebody that goes, well, I want to be able to do cocaine, and they start going down the list. They want all these. It's never ending. That's the problem. Is that you're going to have somebody say, let's decriminalize weed. In fact, I read a story about this the other day. In Europe, that's one of the things that they're talking about is just completely decriminalizing every drug so that there's no issues. I think even in a city, it was either in Washington or Oregon, might have been in Portland, they're talking about just decriminalizing all drugs in Portland, which I guess if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I just wonder what would happen if you did that.
Somebody's got to be the guinea pig.
Say that again?
Somebody's got to be the guinea pig. So
I guess. As long as it's not my city to be the guinea pig, I think I'll be okay to see what happens. But I feel like it would be a disaster, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, you mentioned that Texas has conservative political leanings, and we do. But tight drug control is a very conservative issue. That's what you see with conservatives. They want drugs to be illegal.
Yeah.
And marijuana too. Because even though it's been shown to be, relatively not so bad, you can make the case that cigarette tobacco is much, much worse and more detrimental to society than marijuana ever has.
Mm-hmm.
But marijuana got lumped in with all these hard, rough drugs, cocaine and meth, heroin, all that stuff.
There's so many different opinions about what, like my buddy who's studying this stuff to work with people that are addicts and stuff like that. If you tell him that you can't be addicted to marijuana, man, he'll be like, you're crazy. You can be addicted to marijuana. And I'm like, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. You can't be addicted to the actual chemical of THC, but you could be addicted to the habit. Sure, you could be addicted to any habit,
Sure.
but they've not proven that actually THC is actually an addictive chemical. Nicotine is, caffeine is, there's a lot of other ones that are, but they've not proven it to be that way.
Okay. Well, he will defend that to the death, that it's a bad thing. And one of the things that he'll say is, like, people, you hear a lot of people say, well, yeah, if you drink, it's basically the same thing. And he's like, no, you can drink and not get drunk. If you smoke weed, you get high.
True.
Like, you don't get half high. You get high. Now, I've never been there, so I don't know. I'm sure you can get extra high. You can be so high that you see things, right?
I've never been high enough to see things, but I've been high enough to be extra high.
See, I don't know what it's like. I don't understand the difference in the feeling, but a lot of people will say, you can drink and not get wasted, but if you get high, you're high.
Have you ever ate so much food that you're kind of like on Thanksgiving, you're kind of like in a turkey coma? Like, oh my gosh. That's pretty much what it's like. It's just like, you're just like.
That's it? That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to go crazy. I mean, think about it. Cops don't want to deal with somebody who's drunk because they get violent. A guy on weed, it's like, oh, man, hug me before you arrest me. I mean, that's the way it is. And I speak from experience.
Is that the way it is? There's no such thing as an angry pothead?
Have you ever seen one?
I don't know. I don't know enough potheads.
All this, come on, you mean you haven't seen it on YouTube? No, because you search YouTube and say angry pothead, you're not going to find one. It's all about love and harmony and, man, you got any more chips?
I think we need to edit out all the boring prison and political talk.
just talk about the weed. Just talk about the weed and the Bob acting like a very happy high person.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
This episode seemed maybe unnecessarily heavy-handed and maybe not so funny. We're trying to be funny, right? We're trying to be like hilarious.
What are you doing? Are you throwing this in there so that it has to be edited out, or are you just sharing your opinion?
Are you bashing the show that you're a pun?
No, I'm doing what I usually do, and I'm throwing a monkey wrench into things. I thought that's my function of this show.
Yeah, it is.
You guys have friendly banter, and I try to derail the whole situation. Yeah,
that's fine.
I thought that was my shtick.
I like it. I mean, if that's what you're good at, go for it, dude. We'll probably keep everything in it, though. I mean, part of the thing is just we're talking. Yeah. It's the title of the show. Hey, we're talking.
Yeah, we're not editing. Come on,
it doesn't say, hey, we're editing.
And hey, apparently we're not entertaining either.
No,
right? Am I right?
Wow. See, you can't do that
in
now.
Norway.
Now nobody wants to hear our show because you said it's not entertaining.
Just play it, gosh.
Oh my gosh, man! I just snowflaked out on that one.
It's fun.
Man, Bob, you got all sorts of bugs landing on you.
So I've got one fruit fly.
Are you alive?
Maybe. I might be dead, just rotting from the inside. I've got one fruit fly and one regular fly. Okay. And I'm annoyed right now.
Okay. On that note, we'll have to see on Friday if Bob got the fly. I don't think he's going to get it by Friday, but we'll see. We'll find out. We'll see you guys on Friday.